Bonnie Patterson hadn't seen her mother or 8 brothers and sisters for 41 years. She left Oklahoma when she was young to get a job in California and never saw her family again. After 41 years of searching, her family found her, and today the whole clan celebrated. Bonnie will treasure the day forever, but she says the one most touched is her mother.
You know, it brought back so many memories. And I know that she was the happiest. And if I could bring her any happiness and take away any sorrow, that I just don't want to talk about it.
Best day of my life.
Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
The men, dressed as painters, drove up to the back of the Lakeshore bank. They confronted a Brinks guard just outside an elevator in the basement. The guard, 45-year-old Clayton Hester of Oklahoma City, was shot through his upper right arm, the bullet lodging in his chest. A co-worker immediately drove him to Baptist Hospital, where he's still in surgery and listed in serious condition. The suspects had fled the scene of the crime, leaving most of the money scattered around on the floor. One carried a duffel bag loaded with cash. About a half an hour later, a getaway car was found a couple of miles away at the Meridian Ridge Apartments. Police say the brown Pontiac Le Mans was stolen and apparently left behind after it had a flat tire. Police were then on the lookout for another car, believed to be a 1976 green and white Cadillac with out-of-state license plates. Lakeshore Bank moved to this new building a couple of months ago. Extra precaution was taken for security reasons. There are a lot of maintenance and construction workers here, so someone dressed as a painter could have been using this basement to scope out the area and plan a big robbery, going virtually unnoticed. Bella Shaw, Action 4 at Lakeshore Bank in northwest Oklahoma City.
At first glance, this looks like a normal classroom. Kids drawing in a social studies class. But it isn't. This is the Carver Center, a special school for special children. The students here suffer from a range of disabilities, physical handicaps to multiple handicaps. All 73 have been referred from public schools because of adjustment problems. They just didn't fit in. To these children and their parents, Carver has been a blessing. The instructors have given love and attention to the kids and taught them to respect themselves. Now their school may be taken away and the children transferred to other schools. The parents and the administration at Carver aren't happy about that. But there's two sides to this story.
I think by locating programs in a wing or section of a school, providing special staff and keeping them together as a group, you get the best of both worlds. There is the option there for those students who are ready to take some advantage of the regular school program, but you don't have to push any student out into the regular school until they are ready.
The issue is a delicate one, but both sides stand firm in their convictions. A decision will be made November 30th when the school board meets here to decide the fate of the Carver Center. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
brick walls, steel fences, barbed wire. This is the medical center for federal prisoners in Springfield, Missouri.
On November 30th, the man regarded by some as the king of county commissioners, J.P. Dick Richardson, begins serving a 7.5-year sentence here at the medical center. That name is deceiving. Although the institution serves as a hospital, it is a federal prison.
The former Oklahoma County Commissioner will be greeted by electronically controlled doors. Fair warning that one does not check out of this medical center when he chooses. Richardson will find more than 800 other federal inmates at the center, inmates in need of surgical, medical, or psychiatric help. Most of the inmates will be sent to other institutions after treatment. The same may hold true for Richardson.
He will go into the hospital section and get a complete physical. He'll be assigned a treating physician, and then following the evaluation, we'll make some determination of whether he will stay here or be sent to one of the 42 other federal institutions.
Since this is a medical facility, is security a little more lax here?
We have as much security as any federal institution does. We're classified as an administrative facility, which in effect means that we can handle any type of federal prisoners, from the maximum custody to the minimum custody, and we have those here at all times.
Richardson's health has been failing. During his trial in Oklahoma City, he was confined to a wheelchair. Because of his poor health, he was ordered to begin his prison term in the Springfield Medical Center, where doctors are capable of handling anything but advanced chemotherapy and open-heart surgery.
Does bring back memories.
Advanced medical treatment does not erase the reality of life behind locked doors and barred windows. This hospital is designed to keep the patients in. The Birdman of Alcatraz found that out. He died here in the medical center, where Oklahoman J.P. Dick Richardson may spend the sunset years of his life. Larry Ottis, Action 4, Springfield, Missouri.
Maynard Ferguson is no newcomer to the music industry. He's been a renowned artist for over 30 years, going back to the days of the big band era. But Maynard's fame and style have not diminished since those glowing glitter days. Recently, his own version of Rocky's theme topped the charts. Maynard says being a part of today rather than the past is what keeps him ticking.
Nostalgia is not too much of a favorite game of mine. I don't have a dislike for the past, but I have a great sort of a love for today and the future. And what's gone is gone, and what's here and is right now is where the excitement is, and I enjoy that very much.
Maynard adds that his love for life stems from sharing his music with others.
I enjoy seeing the audience, and I think of my calling, if you will, my duty, is to perform the music and what I play and bring joy to people.
Maynard Ferguson, a living legend in the world of jazz. Carol Lambert, Action 4.
Every year, thousands of illegal aliens come to the United States for the good life they often hear about. However, the Immigration Service rounds up many of the aliens and makes plans for their deportation. In some cases, these foreigners aren't lucky enough to get sponsors, allowing them to stay in America, while others become bitter at being locked up until they are returned to economic conditions they briefly escaped from. Now McAlester is being considered by the Justice Department as a site to build a center for all illegals caught in the U.S. The proposed facility is in a boost for the economy of the city that gets the center. It would be a main alien deportation port for the country and is not supposed to handle aliens with criminal backgrounds. So what do some residents of McAlester think about the proposal?
Well, I have mixed feelings about it. McAlester needs something. There's not enough jobs to go around. But on the other hand, I'm not sure that we need a deportation center. We've got a penitentiary that they can't seem to keep those people in.
We seem unable to attract any industry here, and if the government is willing to put an alien center here and pump $120 million plus into our economy every year, I feel like, why not?
Governor Nye says he will support whatever the majority of McAlester citizens want. It seems the business community is more in favor of the center being built here than local residents. In any event, the federal government says it will decide by January what city will have the center. Ed Stewart, Action 4 McAlester.
Concept knowledge that you require as you move.
No, all of these in the 143 were entered in the calculations. All of these have taken the tests. All of these have either passed or failed.
So this is not true that the failure rate is 48%.
This is not true. Certainly it's not true. The failure rate, as you can see, is down in the 20s, 20% range, 21, 22, 23. It's down near what the average used to be, in fact, a little under the average that we had in what we call the old days before the strike.
There's two reasons why these Boy Scouts gather every year. The first is to show other Scouts in the area what they've accomplished. But the main reason for gathering is to spend time learning and laughing with old and new friends. The exhibits cover all kinds of things, but they have one common goal, to educate. Camping teaches a respect for the great outdoors.
No! I want to hold one!
It gives boys a hands-on experience, like these Scouts cooking donuts. It's proof that learning can be fun.
Besides camping and cooking, scouting also teaches motor skills. Things like climbing this rope bridge. Believe me, it's not as easy as it seems. Ow!
The Boy Scouts of America contributes much to boys' lives.
Rope. Looking good. Crossways. Turn this way on the rope because you jump out from that way. That's the way to do it.
Knowledge as well as good memories, such as the ones these Scouts will have for the 25th annual Scout-A-Rama.
Let's go. Hey, good!
Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
New World Pictures has a movie out called Saturday the 14th, a horror comedy spoof. It stars Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice. The ad in the paper says, "See it before sunrise." My advice to you is don't see it at all. But let me tell you how funny it really is, though. Well, let me tell you how good the technical credits, the plot, and the acting are. You see, my mom always told me if I couldn't say anything good about something, don't say anything at all.
The first robbery took place around 2:30 at the Deluxe Cleaners when two black males assaulted the two women running the shop. Neither of the victims was seriously hurt as the bandits drove off in a light green Ford van with an undetermined amount of money. They may have driven to the nearby Holiday Inn. Just a few minutes after the Cleaners was held up, two black men attacked the clerk at the Holiday Inn liquor store. Thinking they hadn't been given all the money in the store, the robbers beat the clerk with a liquor bottle. Despite the similarities of the two robberies and assaults, police don't believe they're connected.
I don't believe it is because it happened just shortly after the other one did. I don't believe they had time. Apparently they were in the area for a little while before this robbery took place. We believe that they were watching her drive up and come to work. She always comes to work around 3:30, and she did come to work a little bit early today.
The liquor store robbers are described as slender men, both about 5'9". They fled in a yellow four-door Ford. Larry Otis, Action 4, Northwest Oklahoma City.
Richardson's attorney was expected to emphasize the former county commissioner's failing health as reason for not going to jail. To the surprise of courtroom observers, he followed a different plan of attack at today's hearing. In his last chance to get Richardson's sentence suspended, attorney Dwayne Miller took two angles. One was that Richardson cooperated with investigating officials. The other showed Richardson's transactions saved taxpayers hundreds of dollars. U.S. Attorney David Russell jumped on that evidence, showing that in the last 6 months, almost everything the county has purchased has cost around 25% less. U.S. District Judge Luther Eubanks then ruled that sufficient evidence was not presented, showing Richardson medically unfit to serve his sentence. He stressed that was the question at hand. After the hearing, Richardson's attorney says he feels his client cannot physically hold up behind bars.
Unless they have someone there waiting on him 24 hours a day helping him, he's going to have problems.
How does Richardson feel? Did he say any comment?
He was very disappointed. He's shocked. He's convinced he cannot live in a penitentiary, and he's convinced that that'll be the end of his life.
But prosecutor David Russell says he has no qualms about sending Richardson to prison.
He has never expressed any remorse. He has never cooperated with the government. He maintains to this day, in the face of overwhelming evidence, that he was innocent in spite of being found guilty. And I frankly, other than I'm sympathetic with his condition, I am not sympathetic with Dick Richardson.
So on Monday, Dick Richardson will make his way to Springfield, Missouri to begin serving a 7.5-year term in the U.S. Medical Center. In today's ruling, however, Judge Eubanks changed the status of the sentence. If at any time medical officials see his condition deteriorating to a dangerous point, Richardson can be paroled for the remainder of his sentence. Carol Lambert, Action 4 at the Oklahoma City Federal Courthouse.
All I remember is the screech and then the car slamming into us from the side. And I flew out the windows and the car was spinning around at the same time, and I hit the ground, and I remember seeing the car coming from me behind, so I got up and ran. And as that happened, I saw their car rolling across the tracks.
Let me out the floor.
I was really worried and scared at first, but then when I called the office, and talked to the manager, and they assured me that everyone was all right and that the rig had just blown off location and was just floating. And I know about the rig. I know it's like a ship. It'd just be out there, with no motor on it or no propeller. They couldn't guide it, but my husband always told me that it would float, that it would ride the seas, so I really wasn't too worried after that.
About a month ago, a 50% failure rate was reported for the first graduating class of air traffic controllers since the strike. Now a discrepancy has arisen in the percentage of failure for the second graduating class. Over a week ago, officials said the washout rate was about 22%. But now two academy instructors have told the media that's not true. One teacher claims he saw grade sheets where failing test results have been crossed out and passing scores penciled in. He believes the failure rate for the class should be closer to 40%. FAA spokesman Mark Weaver says he has no knowledge of any administrator changing grades on test scores other than those that have been incorrectly graded by the computer.
Apparently there was a discrepancy, once again, in the machine grading or scoring of these exams. By hand checking them, the mistakes were found, and they're double checking those to see which way or how many others did not pass.
Well, by
Obviously,
hand checking them, did you come up with more students that did not pass than you originally thought from the computer?
this would make some difference in it. I can tell you that there were more than there were originally.
Weaver says he'll have no final figure on the washout rate until all the tests are checked one more time. And he adds that if the Academy is trying to cover up failing grades, then why would their second check turn up an even higher amount of failures? In the meantime, Weaver feels sure that the congressional investigation on Monday will help in clearing up all these recent discrepancies. Carol Lambert, Action 4, the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center.
Television is big business, a very big business. As a matter of fact, over $12 billion is spent on television advertising each year, and that number's growing. With such enormous sums of money being spent on television advertising, it's awfully important to know just how many persons are watching.
The answer is found in the ratings, the percentage of people watching a given show at a given hour. Because those ratings are so important to the network profits, there is a never-ending battle to gain larger audiences.
Business is in delivering the maximum audience to our advertisers. So what we attempt to do is put on shows that will reach the most people. Our only measure of that is ratings.
But just what is a rating? This book will tell you. In essence, each rating point is worth 800,000 viewers, 1% of all households with TV sets.
A 10 rating means that 8 million households are watching that particular show. These ratings determine a show's popularity over the competition, as well as the price of the program's commercial time sold to advertisers. By monitoring the viewing habits of 1,200 of the 81 million homes with TVs, the two major rating services determine the viewing choices of the entire country. While the sample may seem small, most agree it is fairly accurate.
Statisticians will tell us that the 1,200 families that are metered give you a reasonably accurate picture of the viewing of any particular show.
While there may seem to be an overemphasis on ratings, the bottom line is money. Each rating point advantage is worth almost $3 million in profit per hour to a network, which makes the importance very obvious. There are those who question whether this criteria should even apply to an entertainment medium.
Anytime that everything is based on the size of an audience, it just leads to mediocrity.
While no one is really thrilled with the rating system, it's the only game in town. ABC Vice President Barbara Corday.
I don't like them personally, but I don't have a better suggestion at this moment. I would like to invent something better.
Tomorrow, we'll find out why all those big blockbuster movies are always stacked up against one another during the ratings war. We just completed the November battle. Come December 15th, we'll find out who won and who lost. Jerry Adams, Action 4.
Carver students, faculty, and parents have learned that the school that stands together wins together. The Handicap Center has won the school board vote to keep their school and even more, the possibility of a new facility or at least a renovated one. Emotions have run high since the beginning of the issue, both sides standing firm in their convictions. Young Sherry Kelly, unable to speak, sent her plea to the board through a letter she typed herself.
I really don't think you really know what it would do to us if you put us in regular schools. People would make fun of us because we can't walk or talk, or people who have seizures and other handicaps. It would make some of us think we are not good enough, and some of us will drop out of school.
After both sides gave their views and the voting was done, Carter had won. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
The point being that we have, under the Constitution, a certified budget with $200 million worth of growth in it. The Constitution intended for the legislature to appropriate the needs of the state out of that budget. We ought to go about that business. And, in an expedient manner early in the session, instead of lingering around here for 80 days before we get serious about a handful of legislators in the General Conference Committee on Appropriation divvying up a $2 billion state general fund budget.